Rain all day in August. Nothing surprises old cow horses, and cattle are all Buddhists. But the weeds look astonished. What is this untimely goodness? The chickens are sulking in the hen house. No trumpets from the peacocks. The guinea fowl refuse to operate their wonderful machinery of creaking. Hungry vultures will be hunching in their black cloaks, patient on their tower at the P Ranch. A silence of old shamans.
This poem is set in Southeastern Oregon, a place writer Ursula Guin has been visiting for decades.
First time trip over with 3 kids. They were 4, 8, and 10 or something like that, you know. And we stayed at the French Glen Hotel, which was the only place to stay then. And the 205 was a dirt road. And I just fell in love with it. It was just love at first sight, you know, and permanent. And it just blew me away. This place is wonderful. And this place, I got to write a book about it. And so driving home, I was already thinking of the book that became The Tombs of Atuan, which begins in a desert place. It was like the landscape gave me the book.
What you probably know Le Guin for is this, her award-winning science fiction and fantasy books.
If they've heard of anything I've written, they've heard of this one. That's a nice new cover for the 40th anniversary edition. I sort of spent my 20s writing and submitting and receiving rejection slips. And then sometime in my 30s, I sort of broke through. I had almost simultaneous acceptances from a science fiction magazine and from a literary magazine. And the literary magazine paid in copies, and the science fiction magazine paid in dollars. And the dollars were rather important to us at that point. The editors in fantasy and science fiction magazines understood that non-realistic writing made sense, whereas realism was kind of the only game at that point. This is, 50 years ago.
What was it like to be a woman early on writing in the science fiction and fantasy genre?
Well, it was kind of fun. Like you said, hi boys, so here we are. Sorry about that, because there were some of them were, oh my goodness, they were macho. But I don't know, I think we younger ones, and we weren't all women, I mean, there was just kind of a new wave coming in, that, okay, it had been a very macho field and kind of written for engineers, and things were changing, and we were changing it, and that's a good feeling.
Her longtime friend and collaborator, photographer Roger Dorband, also finds Oregon's high desert irresistible.
Well, I've been documenting Steens Mountain area since 86 or 87. I love coming to the area, and so that's given me an excuse to photograph here over the years. You get out in nature like this, and it's like scales falling off your eyes, and these barriers kind of dropping, and pretty soon you feel like you're part of everything, and that is a wonderful feeling.
His photographs, along with poems and drawings by Le Guin, are featured in their new book. It's called Out Here, Poems and Images from Steens Mountain Country.
We both have a love of Steens Mountain. In fact, we met up over there several times and shared the ranch at McCoy Creek Ranch. And as her poems and drawings started to mount up and my photographs, we suddenly looked at each other one day and said, hey, we should try this again.
Oh, and this one too, the Camelback Butte.
Right.
Realized that we didn't have we don't have a picture of it.
No, we don't have a photograph of that, and you have a poem that features that, so that was really great to have that drawing.
It's not a good drawing, though. But the poem's much better. Oh, that's from Kiger Overlook. That's such a beautiful place.
Oh, this one.
Yeah, there you're getting autumn color.
Yeah, and that's probably about 3/4 of the way up the mountain. And that was probably September. The trees start to turn pretty early up there.
Oh, yeah.
And I think that was also around that time, the aspen groves.
Aspens are weird.
The tree has a great shape, and then you get those eyes.
Yeah.
Those little eyes in the bark.
And the trunks that kind of wiggle.
Yeah. This one has a kind of a ship-like feeling to me.
Yeah, well, of course, in the desert, things last.
Yeah, the dryness.
They dry out,
Yeah.
and so, these old buildings in Western Oregon, they'd be totally decayed and part of the forest floor,
Oh, definitely. Well, yeah.
So here is our first collaboration.
Yes. Began, I think, in 1986, or right in that time zone.
We found a very nice local publisher, and the book is now kind of an historical document because Thurman Street has changed so much.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, it's
But that was fun.
it was indeed.
I like collaborating with artists in another medium. I don't particularly want to collaborate writing. I'm too piggy about my own, too pig-headed about what I write. But I love working with an artist, a photographer, a dancer, whatever. And I have taken the chance whenever I could. It's exciting.
Though some of the settings for her books are not of this world, the influence of the Northwest is unmistakable.
There's The Lathe of Heaven, which takes place in Portland. I wasn't a very good prophet. Science fiction writers aren't. It was supposed to be 2002. Portland was a huge city of millions and millions, and so on. But of course, then George begins dreaming his dreams that change things, and so Portland keeps changing. So I was kind of playing with Portland. My favorite bit is the subway that only goes out to Reed College. I know that struck me as funny. And this is the Tombs of Atuan, which is one of the Earthsea books, and this is the one that I got the idea for out in the high desert of Oregon.
The high desert continues to inspire her.
We're here for a week, a year, and I think about it the other 51.
This spot looks awfully familiar. I have a feeling I've shot from the same rock before. But you never know when you're going to get it just right. A lot of drama. We got these thunderheads coming over every afternoon. It really makes for a lot better photography than having just a blank blue sky.
So I went one kind of hot day at the field station. It's so ugly there,
Yeah, it's a pretty
I love it so much.
bleak looking place.
Yeah. An incident at the field station. She walked along, that old woman, between the trailers and the classroom building. She walked along and she saw a wind come up out of the dust in the sagebrush, whirling. Saw that wind come up, whirling and rising, that tall, whirling dust wind come to her quickly. She stopped walking. Where she was, there was no wind. She stood still in the still air, saw the tall cloud of dust come to her quickly. Then the air clapped huge hands, and the wind whirled past her, way down the road, loud, lifting the dust up, taller, thinner, taller, and vanished. Then that old woman clapped her hands, turned round and followed, whirling, shouting, dancing, dust with the dust of the whirlwind, whirling up taller and thinner, way up over the field station, shouting louder, and vanished.
Oregon Art Beat shares the stories of Oregon's amazing artists, and member support completes the picture. Join us as a sustaining member at opb.org/video.